Okay. Welcome into late night happy hour. Is this my job now? Is this my job to say that, Cofield, or were you?
Yeah,
I
That's
never.
your job.
Cofield will
I
say.
was gonna.
Cofield. No, Cofield will say, "Hey, you're the lead. You're the lead tonight," but then he'll still say the intro thing. So I
Yeah,
wasn't.
you're right.
I haven't been on in like a month because I moved, and then no. First, I had a COVID scare. Had a couple COVID scares so far unscathed, and then I moved and couldn't get the Wi-Fi figured. Like I had Wi-Fi, but it was shitty Wi-Fi. And I tried to do a show with you guys, I think like right before Christmas. And I was wearing the same jacket. Allie, you remember?
Yeah. How can I forget Duran? Of course I do.
When I go on a walk in the evening now, I wear this is actually Speedo brand, as you can see. And I wear my Speedo windbreaker.
Classy, retro, love it.
But the reason I wanted to bring up the Wi-Fi is because one of our listeners, Andrew F.exe on Twitter, walked me through step by step, like I had the most rudimentary, elementary questions for him about how to get my Wi-Fi working, tried different things. He saved me. So now I couldn't do, it wasn't just you guys. I couldn't do Zooms. I couldn't watch YouTube. I was screwed. I was like totally fucked. And Andrew F.exe, one of the listeners, I hope he's in here tonight. He walked me through what to do, got the equipment, got the tech. I'm back, baby. What's up?
I love it. I miss the headband though. I'm definitely missing the headband. Yeah, the last time you were here was our hat show when we all wore our hats. That's right. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was in 2020.
Yeah, way back last year in that shitty old year of ours. Well, we had a fill-in. Willie G. Ramirez was here. He did rockin', but we totally missed you. I'm glad you're back again.
Yeah, well, it's been like a month, really, because before that, I just moved into a new apartment, and then my new roommate went on a date. This was the story I was trying to tell last time. Remember?
Right.
What
Yes.
happened? My roommate he went on a date, and then he was like, "Yeah, man, the girl I was on a date with like similar taste the whole time at dinner." And I was like, "Oh," and then the next day he was like, "Oh, she has COVID." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." And then I had to go out of the house.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was just silly on his part and her part to travel for that matter. So I don't know.
We had traveled, and then they went to dinner somewhere. I don't know, because I'm in LA now, so it's like takeout only. It's only takeout, so I don't know what they exactly did. But like, yeah, we were on the date, and then she couldn't taste or smell. But then he still went back to her house with her. So I'm like, oh my God. And somehow didn't get COVID, like didn't get it. So I don't know.
Huh. Well, good for him, at the end of the day. How do we get some of his blood or something, though?
Well,
how can we use this for our own advantage right now?
If you hook up with someone, don't you think you'd get COVID?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I would think, apparently if I touch the same doorknob as someone, I can get COVID. So I would think that if I was like tonsil deep with them, it'd be a for sure. I don't know. Was it like a Pretty Woman situation where there's no kissing on the mouth?
Oh, it was just like straight to third and fourth base, or third base and home, whatever you call it.
Yeah, like no need to touch mouths there, like there are other bodily fluids we can share.
Oh, that's the COVID way. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna definitely use that.
Yeah, can you get COVID through like the bing bang bong way? Like if you just there's no if we wear our masks and just bang it out, could I still get it? Through sweat? There's going to be a condom involved, so that couldn't be the way, but through sweat or something. I'm just saying.
You're saying if you have sex with masks on, condoms on, could you spread COVID?
Yeah. It's I feel like they've overanalyzed every single aspect of how we could ever get COVID, but I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just saying.
Meanwhile, no, it's true though. It's like, hey, surfaces, you can't eat at restaurants, this and that. But I've got people in my vicinity who are banging COVID positive people and being fine. So I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to be the guinea pig for that trial in particular, but it sounds like your roommate was, and it worked out for him. So there's that little PSA there. You have a lot more facial hair than I remember you having. Is this a new thing you're doing?
Yeah, could be.
All right.
No, it's funny. Earlier, I was at a furniture store earlier today, and the guy was like, "Oh, you're growing out your beard," because I've been there multiple times because I moved, so I'm like looking at, I'm like trying to get things dialed in, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I am," but it's not intentional. It's just kind of forget to shave.
Yeah. I did that with my legs like a week ago because I'm single now. So it's like, what do I have to shave legs for? And I'm literally laying in bed at like 2 a.m. and my legs are so bad. I had to get up and get in the shower and shave my legs at 2 o'clock in the morning just so I could go to sleep. So I feel you, man. Like you don't care until you care, and then it gets intense and you have to do something about it. It's a good look though. I'm liking it. I'm digging it. You're kind of hobo chic, little hobo chic.
I moved to LA now, it's kind of like we've got a lot of homeless people here. So
you got to get my coffee shop on,
Yes, exactly. What did I miss while I was gone? Because the last time I was here, I wasn't really here. I was like a pixel. I was like 2 pixels.
You really were. And a going joke. And a going joke about
I know.
And yeah, but that's awesome. So yeah, I thank you, viewer, who helped him out as well, because it's a better show when Alex is actually in focus. That's a big deal.
AndrewF.exe. I don't know if he's in here tonight, but he saved me. Dude saved me.
What a guy! What a guy!
Okay. I was going to say I want to hear about Alex's exploring. Now that he's really in LA.
What do you mean by exploring?
I don't know. I'm watching.
Where are you going?
I'm watching your Twitter handle, and you're like doing all these little travels. Was that Philippe's you were at the other day?
I did hit up Philippe's. Yeah, you've been, right? Have you been?
I went there before. I forget what it was, but I'd never been there before. It's pretty interesting. My kind of place. But they're not allowing anyone inside.
I did know. You go inside, order at the counter, and then you have to eat in the park, like in the parking, like. You're not allowed to eat there, so we just sat like on the curb and ate. But you're like, you can go inside, order at the counter, and then take it out. Everything in LA, everything in California, pretty much is supposed to be takeout only. But Orange County right now is just like, fuck it. You can still actually fully go to like a nightclub in OC right now indoors. Like seriously, my sister is a cook at like a really popular bar, and she's like, it's been packed every day. You got to come through. And I was like, I was like, I'm good. I'm not coming. Like, I'm good. I don't need to come through. I see a line like a velvet rope and a line to get in. I'm like, no, thank you.
So is it weird going to LA, like just the land of the dead? There's no one on the streets as compared to OC.
It's weird because I'm like, oh shit, I'm so stoked to be in LA. Like we're in a great location. We're next to like some really cool bars and restaurants. And I'm just like, cool. I'll just wait, I guess. I'll just wait a few months to actually get to experience it. So yeah.
Tell people what Philippe's actually is.
So Philippe's is one of the premier sandwich destinations on the West Coast for sure. Allie, if you make it out to SoCal.
I'm surprised I don't know about this already.
It's been around since I think I went there in 2018 for their 110th anniversary. So 1908. It's been around since 1908. They claim to have invented the French dip. They claim to be the first ones to take like the prime rib or the beef sandwich on the French roll and do the au jus. And they've been around since 1908. And regardless, they make a bomb French dip. Like that's their thing. So, and really what I go for, you go for the French dip, but the sides, they got so many good sides, like, the classics. Mac salad, potato salad, pie, tapioca, pickled egg, coleslaw. Like it's old school. There's sawdust on the floor. There's like a bank of payphones. So yeah, huge fan. But it's with COVID, you have to get it to go. And then we ate it out just like, sitting on the curb, which is silly, I guess, because it's like there were some old men who brought their own folding chairs and they were sitting out on the sidewalk. So it's like, which is sweet, but it's just
that's darling. Funny. All right, I checked out their website. I'm in. I want to go. I'm with it.
It's totally a Cofield spot.
Oh, I'm a deli girl. I love a good freaking sandwich, man.
Come on, look in the bottom left corner too. You got some cookies. Just look. I mean, the enormity of the deli case is amazing. The deli counter, that's crazy. And usually there's like lines shooting out, probably like 5 different lines there. They got the old school chalkboard. Yeah, that place is awesome.
Actually, Cofield, I'm glad I just remembered something. So they opened in 1908, and this year with COVID, or 2020 with COVID, is the first time you've been able to get it to go. Before it was like dine in only. I'm pretty positive. And they never did like Grubhub or Postmate. They were like, you got to come into Philippe's.
I love that.
All that. And for a while, like you saw in the picture that they were cash only. Love spots like that. Like you can get a pickled pig's foot, you know?
I love that. I love spots like that. I remember watching this documentary on this like old 80-year-old Japanese man who made ramen noodles, and he's got this restaurant and it only seats like 8 people. Like he does 8 covers a night, and that's what he freaking does because it takes him all damn day long to make these noodles, and this is how he does it. He's not doing it any other way. And yeah, it might not be 8, it might be like 10, but it's a very low number, and like that's what he does, and he doesn't care, and he makes buku bucks because he's charging buku dollars for these noodles. But anyway, I love spots like that. Like, no, you want my food, you come get my food. All right. I got the best. You want the best, you come to me. That's how it works.
For sure. When I lived in Portland, or you lived in Portland, did you ever go to a pizza place called a Pizza Shoals? Did you ever go there?
Nope, I did not.
It was on Hawthorne. It was like a 52nd in Hawthorne. But
I wasn't on Hawthorne. I was like in the Pearl District. So Hawthorne was a little further away. And I walk it, you walk everywhere. So.
But they did a thing. It was like in the morning, the guy, or the whatever time the cook would make the pizza dough, and then in the afternoon or evening, when they ran out, they were out. So each day it was like they only made this much dough, and I guess law of supply and demand. You create the demand that way. But it was amazing pizza. So like had like, and they didn't take reservations, and it was like a sit down pizza. So I love spots like that.
Yeah. Willie G. Ramirez, top delis in Vegas, go. He says, I love Samueli's Deli in Green Valley in Vegas. I've been going there since like 94. Their matzo ball soup is beyond. And then Rocco's New York Italian Deli, when it was owned by Adam, the one on Buffalo and Charleston. I worked there for 2 years, but I managed that joint too. But that guy, the rice balls there, beyond. So those are my 2 favorite delis in Las Vegas. Samueli's is beyond though.
Damn, that sounds really good.
Oh, it's good business. Have you been to Cofield's not even paying attention?
I am. I was looking up a tweet that I had sent Alex last week. Keep going.
I know what you're. Have you been to Samueli's? But never mind. We'll digress.
I see John Carvelli in the chat saying Weiss Deli.
Yeah, Weiss is Samueli's. It's the same thing. Yeah. They changed their name. I'm pretty sure, but Weiss is the same.
I'm a simple man. Like I do feel like about every. Let's see. I think we started doing these late in the happy hours when like in June or July. I feel like every couple months or like every 6 weeks, this deli convo comes back up. I don't know if it's a Cofield thing. I don't know if it's a me thing, but I do feel like I know to go to Weiss when I'm in Vegas. Like that has been, I know that I saw Weiss. I was like, oh yeah, I got to go there. Go
to the Bagel Cafe.
The Bagel Cafe.
That's sort of in Summerlin. Go to, I still think the offshoot of that is at the Suncoast. That one's good. There's a good deli at South Point. Roma Deli is good for Italian. We have more than a few good delis here.
Yeah, we do. That's like one of the beautiful parts of living in a transient town. We've got a lot of East Coasters here. Like people get older, they live in the cold. It's bad for arthritis. You get a lot of like older folks that move from the East Coast out to Vegas because our air is great for people with arthritis. I used to hear that all the time when I worked at Rocco's was, I had to move out here because of the cold. So it's like just something they tell me that I know. But Weiss and Samueli's are the same place. I'm talking about the same joint there. But yeah, so what happens when East Coasters come out west? They bring their delis, and I love it. Bring more. I'm with it.
Love good deli talk. Cofield, are you looking up the tweet you had where you said to go to Tam's and get the pastrami burger?
Yeah.
What? I've never actually been to Tams, but I see him around. How did you know I was by Tams?
Truth be told, I've never been to a Tams in my life. I've never been to that area you were in. I was just busting your balls. Were you in Silver Lake? What was the town you were in that day?
I was in Bellflower that day.
That's what it was. It was Bellflower, and I don't know if it was Bellflower. Whatever. I just did a map search, and I was looking for somewhere that was close to where you were because you had gone somewhere that day, and I was like, "Yeah, try Tams." I'd never fucking been there,
I legitimately I guess I kind of want to get into this topic next, selfishly, but it's about this club football that's been going on in California. I just want to get you guys to weigh in on it. But I've been going to Bellflower, which is like a suburb. It's like between LA and Long Beach. I've been going to Bellflower every Saturday, and I was there last 2 Saturdays ago, and you tweeted, you said, go get the pastrami burger at Tams. I happened to drive by a Tams. I was like, oh yeah. So last Saturday, I almost went there on your fake recommendation.
You gotta get it, man.
I went to Fat Burger. I went to Fat Burger instead, but.
All right.
Oh my God. I've been dying to talk to you about this, Alex. Oh, my friend Tommy logged on to hear me talk about it. In-N-Out Burger. So I go off on this whole like In-N-Out Burger thing with my friend Tommy, who's over a couple weeks ago watching a game with me. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. It makes me barf. It's gross. I'm not into it. And he's like, you're doing it all wrong. You got to get it animal style. And I'm like, what's an animal style? And he's like, hold on. So I told you, there's one across the street from my house, and I never go because I'm not into it. So he brings me back this burger, and it's animal style. And I mouthed that sucker, and it was so bomb. So I'm in. I've flipped teams here. I'm in with In-N-Out Burger, but it has to be animal style. But I've seen the light. Okay, I've seen the light.
That's cool with me. I actually don't get animal style.
I was like, Alex is so proud of me.
It's funny because I guess like online or just in general, I've taken on a persona of defending In-N-Out. But my main thing is that I don't think In-N-Out is the best. I just think it's solid. I think it's really solid. And the price is right. The price is right.
It's too expensive. I'm still on the
it's cheaper than McDonald's.
Vegas. Like well, I don't eat at McDonald's. I eat at Taco Bell if I'm going to eat something.
It's legitimately some of the cheapest like burgers that you can get from any fast food restaurant, and it's quality. That's why I'll go to bat for it. And the fact that if you get there through animal style, then that's how you know what? There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different roads. A lot of different roads to lead to Mecca. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's just it. I don't fat burger though. I'm not going down that road. That's even the Beastie Boys. I mean, I'll do just about anything the Beastie Boys say. And they say that they chill at White Castle because it's the best, but they fly at Fat Burger when they're way out west. And you know what? I'm not doing it because I'm not there. It is a fat burger and it's gross. Just like I used to think. Does Fat Burger do an animal style thing? Maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Is there an animal style?
No, I don't know. Not that I know of, but I love Fat Burger. I saw what's his name? AJ Real LLC in the chat. Shake Shack is great. Love Shake Shack too. But what do you have wrong with Fat Burger? I feel like it's just a solid burger. I didn't know it had detractors.
Greasy. It's so greasy. Yeah, salty. John knows. It's just like it's not. I want a char-broiled situation, like I want it to taste like it has been cooked on some sort of a grill and not on like the engine of your Datsun. I don't know. It's just some of those burgers taste like a mechanic.
I like a blue-collar burger. I like a salty, greasy burger.
No, I'm good. I'm going to pass on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did, Willie. Yeah, I did.
Well, Cofield, I will go get the pastrami burger at Tams and report back, even though you never had it.
It looked good, so I wanted you to be the guinea pig and try it.
No, Tams.
I should have held off. You'd be like, that place sucks, dude. And I'll be like, I've never been there.
No. Tams is like an LA only chain that I've never had. That I've never heard anyone talk good or bad about. Like I see them around, but I've never almost could be underrated. Like maybe someone in the chat. I've never had Tams, but it's small. There's probably like 15 or 12. I see them around. I just don't know anything about it.
They must. There's a couple food conversations going on in the chat room. This is not the place, but they must have decent Italian. I don't know why I'm thinking hot dogs now, though. I was thinking Chicago dogs. Anyway, at Doghouse down by what used to be the Hard Rock. Separate conversation. And yes, Willie Kilroy's was awesome, except the owner decided to sell out of all of them like maybe 10 years ago. So there were 3 within range of like where I drive all the time, and all 3 are gone.
Yeah, I remember Okay, that makes sense then, because like I remember Kilroy's, but I don't remember seeing one recently. So
no, there was a Kilroy's at Buffalo and Charleston. There was a Kilroy's at right by 215 and Flamingo. I think it's is that Grand Canyon? But that's one of the bars now. And there was another Kilroy's at Spring Mountain and Decatur, which I think is like Sago's now. So, but I don't go to bars that often. I have like everyone memorized where it was, what it's become. God damn it. We need local bars and burgers and
God, I can't wait.
Enough of the chain stuff, please.
Yeah, no kidding.
So moving on from the burger talk, did you guys watch the college football championship game last night? It was last night. Bama won.
Ish.
Did you watch?
Ish.
Eh?
Well, I had planned to do Kurt Alexander, one of our handicappers at Picks and Parlays, come over last night. We're going to drink some beers and do an in-play show at halftime, go on live and, see what kind of money we can make. And then I was already real hard on the Boise State game, or down real hard on it. So I was like ready to in-play that second half also. And then it was such a blowout in not only the national championship, but the Boise game that like, I can't come online and tell you to lay 20 more points with Alabama or take it 10 more points over the 74.5 or whatever it was,
Why not?
So
why not?
It's funny because it would have cashed, because it's just not the right thing to do. Because it's
not the right thing to do.
It's as degenerate as we are. I don't want to come on and
no.
tell you to make degenerate bets.
No. It's not degenerate. It's not in play in the second half. If you're paying attention and there's injuries. Now here's the thing: I got sucked in on Ohio State because I bet them plus 14.5 and plus 21.5. I was covering until they fell apart and started to stall in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't a degenerate bet. And if you're looking at the other side, Alabama was starting to get beat to crap. Mac Jones got hobbled. Devontae Smith was out of the game. Waddled off the field. There was nothing wrong with playing a total at that point in the game, especially if here's the way I looked at it, because I had a bunch of bets. So I had Alabama -8 going into the game. They jumped up quickly. Then I had Ohio State plus 14.5, and then I had Ohio State plus 21.5. So I had a couple of middles, working there. If the result is somewhere between 9-14 and 9-20, it wasn't in the end. But I don't think those were terrible bets. It's just that Alabama kept going and Ohio State fell apart.
Look, I'm going to completely agree. It was not a degenerate bet to make, but for me to come online and tell you as a professional handicapper, this is what you should do with your money right now. Kurt and I both did. We looked at each other at halftime and he asked me, do you feel comfortable telling someone to take -21 with Alabama right now? And I said, no. And he said, do you feel comfortable taking them plus 21 with Ohio State? And I said, no. And he goes, then we don't have a show to do. And so that was just it. I'm not saying there was a right or a wrong way to do it, but like as someone who's here to advise you on a good play to make, it wasn't a close enough game. We need a close game to do an in-play show. You need the numbers to move. We've done them before. It just wasn't the game. But yeah, I quit watching in the second half and just kind of checked back in because I was just bored of it. And Boise was on, and that was more exciting to me.
I watched until the final 4 minutes, and finally I was like, yeah, this ain't going to happen. And I watched the whole thing. Ray here says he pounded the hell out of Alabama 21.5. That was a good bet. By the way, Ray, just getting into Captain Sandy. Okay. All right,
I was going to ask you about Captain
I'm
Sandy
into it.
too, because the other one.
What's Captain Sandy?
It's
Below Deck.
It's Below Deck, the weird show on Bravo that's got like 17 seasons, I think. And
welcome to my world, gentlemen.
I'm at the beginning of my 6th, and I'm just being introduced to a new captain. I'm being introduced to new staffers. So Hannah's back. Not a big fan.
What do you think of Captain Sandy? I really like Captain Sandy.
I've only seen 2 episodes, but she's completely different than the other guys.
Yeah.
Who have done it. She's much more hands-on, so
well,
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. What do you think of Kate, the Chief Stew Kate? What do you think about her? She's on Captain Lee's business.
What do you think? What do you think? I think of Kate
with her. I want to be her when I grow up. I think
what do you think I would think of Kate?
I think you would hate her, but you'd love to watch her and talk shit about her.
No, I fucking love her.
Do you? She's so awesome. She has a care and a standard to her service that you just don't find everywhere, you know. And
Alex, this lady, she's the boss. She's the boss of the boat. It's usually women who are working the inside of the boat. Men, some women work the outside of the boat. And this Kate is she's no nonsense, you know. And she calls people on it. And some of the women get all emotional. Some of the guys get all, fired up. She fucking fights with the chef all the time. She's a great reality show character because she gives no shits. And like if you do your job and you have a boss like that, you're probably not going to get yelled at a whole lot. And if you do get yelled at or snapped on, then you're probably doing something wrong. But if you're constantly not doing your work, you have a shitty attitude, you come from a gifted background, then she's going to fucking drag you. I love that.
Yeah. And the thing with her too, she's worked for Captain Lee for so many years that she just like gets away with a ton of stuff too. But you were just saying she gives zero shits. I watched the Below Deck from last night today, and Chef Rachel gave me a new fun word. Do you know what gilly daff is? No. Oh shit, I just forgot. Gonna like I give a fuck. Yeah. That, what is it? Gilly daff. I can't get the G there, but it's like I give a fuck is the illy daff part of it all. But gilly daffing. Why can't I think of this? It'll come to me.
They're all British?
No, they're all from everywhere. That's
okay.
Yeah. They're like this potpourri of like sexy accents and super hot chicks and super hot guys, and they're always taking their clothes off and oiling down. And
okay.
So the great thing is when you're old like me and you remember what you were like in your 20s and an immature ass, you see these 20 something and they're so fucking immature. To me, it makes it funny, like guys who think they're ultra cool and then they get stuck on a boat for 5 and 6 weeks and they can't get ass. They can't get it on shore. They're super frustrated. You see how shitty their game is. That's funny. The women are snapping all over the place. I don't know. I find it entertaining. So, and I'm also fascinated by, I'm not a boat guy. Obviously I'm not chartering fucking yachts. I haven't been to Croatia. I haven't been to the Mediterranean. I haven't been to the Caribbean. So this whole yacht life thing, I find
vicariously.
I'm the Below Deck right now. They're in Antigua, and I was in Antigua for like a month and a half. So like when they're in Jolly Harbor, I know where they are. So I'm like super stoked about this season in particular because it's the first time they've ever been to anywhere I've actually been to. So that's kind of fun too. I'm stoned or something. I'm sorry. Do I look like I give a fuck? Dilly gaff. I love that word.
Yeah, my ex is gonna get the last laugh because this is like back in 2016. Whenever she was the girl I dated then was like, you got to watch Below Deck. It's a great show. This. I blew it off. Now I'm hearing buzz about it from Cofield, from you, Allie. I'm seeing it on Twitter. I thought I blew it off. I missed the boat. No pun intended.
So long, yeah. Like Below Deck is so old school. It's ridiculous. What's all this time in the chat? What's the time?
Oh, I think they're guessing when you're gonna pee.
When I'm gonna go pee.
Oh, you just ruined the bed, you idiot.
Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, guys, because who's got the most money on it? Can I get a cut out of this?
I didn't know. I
thought
I'm like, don't make bets with me when I'm driving the car.
She could see it.
Someone, yeah. Come on.
You think she can't figure it out? She's literally picks and parlays. Like, how she could see it?
Yeah. And I've been telling you guys you should do this on me.
My bad, guys.
For months, I've been saying you guys should put a total on it. Am I going to pee once or twice? Here's full disclosure. If you're going to handicap it, I've already had a good 3 or 4 small ones tonight. I'm just about done with this one.
Little peas?
I pound these little suckers. I told you it's weight distribution. Like,
she's double fisting. That's great.
All
right. Alex, we can talk below deck anytime. So get back to where you were going with your youth football. What's going on with the youth football? And I love hearing about California because it's so much. I see so much whining from California with
bro.
COVID, and now you're going to see even more. You're going to see different parts of the state like really getting behind the attack on the Capitol, and these assholes representatives who are like, I'm not going through the metal detector. It's a violation of my rights. Like, let's just keep going with this.
California is a funny state because you think of, or like maybe it gets thought of as this liberal paradise, but outside of the two major urban centers, oh shit, it's as red as they come. Like, I mean, including our congressman, and outside of, and like, yeah, well, where I'm from, Newport Beach, there was in prime real estate on Pacific Coast Highway, there was like a pro-Trump store that then after the election flipped to a recall Gavin Newsom store. They just switched out the merch, and it's like, it's hilarious. It's like
probably making a killing.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, I've been asked to sign multiple. When I go back to Orange County, I'm almost every time I'm asked to sign a recall Gavin Newsom, signature wherever you sign things. Petition. That's the word. Petition.
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind because, like I said, my mom's boyfriend's in Costa Mesa and she's out there all the time and whatnot. And, of course, we all kind of grow up thinking like California dreaming and la, la, la. But no, it's really not like that. I mean, he lives in an affluent neighborhood and everyone around there is Trump support. I mean, he's, 3rd Street away from the pier. So, I mean, he's close and they're fancy houses and it's a lot of Trump supporters, and it kind of did blow my mind. It was a little shocking, even being, I guess like as up to date on things as I am. I just expected that. I don't know. I don't know. It was disheartening. I will say it was disheartening.
So the thing that Cofield mentioned, which is something I did want to bring up here, and I really want to get Allie's and Cofield's opinion on this or the chat. So California is one of the only states that didn't bring back high school sports or high school football yet. And out of this emerged a club football league. Like we've got, there's club soccer, club baseball, AAU basketball. It exists in most other sports. Here, a school, it's an athletic training facility in a high school. They kind of want to be like the IMG Academy of California. And they started a club league that is, the games are happening. I don't know if illegal is the right word, but it's definitely in violation of state health guidelines. Like high school sports are still on pause. I think the CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation, is going to make a ruling. And there probably are. That's interesting. I've seen people are coming from NorCal to come compete in the club league. Anyway, it's called Winter Circle. It's getting a ton of press. LA Times and CNN and New York Times have written about it. It's getting a ton of press. One of the Orange County teams, I'm doing play-by-play for them. So I'm going out to these games. And so I've been out both weekends. This is week 3 coming up. They play 18 games a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on a field out in like truly the middle of nowhere next to a gun range. And it's really split, and you're seeing the fight or the argument spill onto Twitter. Of course, or maybe it's not spilling onto Twitter. It's existing on Twitter with a lot of like LA Times sports writers and sort of more established media people in SoCal are super against it, saying, these school people need to wait. They need to play by the rules. These are super spreader events. And then there's the coaches and the players and the people organizing it are like, we're giving kids opportunities to get scholarships. The state dropped the ball. CIF dropped the ball. We're making it happen. And then there's me, who I like really see both sides, but the team was like, hey, we'll pay you to call our games. So I'm like, okay, where's the field? This is what I want to do. If I were a betting man, which I am, and if there was a line offered by Vegas about whether there'd be high school football this season in California, I'd put so much money down on no. There's absolutely no way it's going to happen. So I just wanted to, what do you guys think about the club football thing? Like, people, LA Times sports writer Eric Sonheimer, he's been super critical of it. And I'm out there. I like the opportunity to call the games, and the kids are getting an opportunity to play. So I think it's okay. I think it's a good thing.
Allie?
I don't. I'm not mad at you, but I don't. I'm homeschooling my freaking kid every day. You don't think I want to drop my kid off for 2 hours so I can go to soccer practice twice a week? No, I absolutely want to do that. But no, I'm good. From someone who's been in quarantine twice in 2 months because a kid spread it to my kid, who we never actually had COVID, but twice we had to quarantine for it. I am not built for quarantine. Okay. First of all. And no, just no. I don't think it's okay. It's the whole freaking point of what we're doing is not getting close to each other and being faced. For you, your job is not like Cofield was just asking me about, am I doing stats for UNLV? And I just kind of don't have time. But I understand for us, as the worker perspective, that we are going to be sanctioned and masked, and there's probably nothing that we need to worry about. But as far as players playing face to face with each other and then being our children, I'm not necessarily okay with that. And just the way that a lot of these parents think sometimes, and maybe this is just my perspective, but remember, I didn't like that Vegas families were bringing their kids to Utah to do their club sports. And then Utah broke out. And I don't know, I don't think it's the time. I don't think it's the most important thing that needs to be happening right now is that, that kids are playing sports with each other, we could sit this one out, guys, but I get the perspective of it. I'm not on that side, but I get it. I'm just not on that side.
I think the question though, that then I'd ask you is, because right now it's high school club. What if your kid was a high school senior and this was their last season, that's kind of, for me, I'm most of these kids are juniors and seniors, and I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? I get why they're out there playing.
No, then I think it's actually even a little bit worse, because at least with the smaller children, we found that it doesn't spread as much. And I don't know, I don't know how factual I am, but this is just from what I hear kind of thing. But from smaller children, it doesn't spread as much and whatnot. But now if we're going with juniors and seniors, now we're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old kids where it does, they do smoke weed, they do drink alcohol, they do hang out in groups with each other. Whereas my 10-year-old will go and play and then he'll come home. And maybe I get it from there. But with the teenagers, now we're talking about camaraderie and, we're smoking pot behind the bleachers, or I don't know where people smoke pot nowadays. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think it's actually worse if it's high school kids.
So let's go through a list of some of the comments. So going back about 5 minutes, Gil the Thrill, Newsom is a horrible governor.
I think is it Gil the Thrill in LA? He's a SoCal dude, right? Or he's a California dude? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Shout out.
Keep going. Gil. Come on. Keep going. Keep loading up stories. All right. He's a pathetic hypocrite, just like Sissilac. On the Sissilac thing, I'm going to act like a lot of people now. I haven't gotten COVID. My job's intact. We're doing pretty well. So you know what? Fuck everyone else. I'm happy. I like Sissilac.
I'm cool with Sissilac. I think he's rocking a hard place, man.
That's not a way to judge Sissilac. I'm kidding. But we've all, everyone's got their own situation and how they judge the governor in each state. Allie, I cut you off. So you said you like Sissilac?
No, it's not that I like him or don't like him. I just think he's between a rock and a hard place right now. And Vegas is such its own animal that it's just a bitch for you this year, Sissilac. Sorry. You got a shit end of a deal, man. But this is where you're at. So I can't hate on. I don't know how I could handle this better. Maybe I don't know. I probably do, because I'm me and I can do everything better than you. But I don't want to hold anything against him, because I just think it's a crap time to be a governor of any state.
So Gil, on the football story. So we have club football here in Vegas too. The rest of the people that play are going to Utah and Arizona. Let's see. Stopping play. People are just putting themselves at more risk now, since these places don't have the same protocols high schools would. So it sounds like he's anti-club football. Is that how I'm reading that?
No, I think he's pro, because he's saying that if he said the high school should have figured it out and done it with more protocols, but because they didn't, this is the natural. That's my inference. But that's
okay.
G League.
That's kind of how I feel, though.
But it's not okay, though. You're like loopholing through something that kills people. You know, like you find a loophole from college to the NBA without a one and done. That's a or high school to NBA without a one and done. That's a loophole. This is defying the CDC's direction in order to spread a virus. You know, it's kind of how I feel about that. Like,
well,
wrong.
Let's look at it from the scholarship standpoint. So Brady has one end. If you're a high-level recruit in California, is it worth risking injury to play in the spring? Probably not if you were already a guy, you know, or a family that was getting a scholarship. But then there's the other side of it, which I think Alex was leaning towards, which is a possible scholarship is probably worth the risk to families. I mean, that sounds crazy, but, you know, 5 years at a $50,000 a year school, that's, you know, obviously do the math. It's worth $250,000. Now, is that worth getting heart disease as a kid? Is it worth spreading it to grandma and potentially killing her? I don't know. That's a decision for each family to make. College scholarship is worth a lot of money, and there are a lot of families who cannot afford to send their kid, you know, on their own for freaking $50K a year.
Go ahead, Allie. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I have a thought and I'll forget it. So remember how Alex, you weren't on, but I was talking about how the big elite schools in college basketball are not doing as well. And the reason I used for that was that the one and done era is kind of knocking them out, that we can't regenerate players when you just have them for 1 year and then they're gone. Like, you can't regenerate players fast enough to fill whole teams with good guys. So then I was just like stoned one night and thinking, I'm like, maybe if everyone who's like in high school gets an extra year, then next year we'll like double up and we'll have like double the, you know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe this is like the universe's weird way of like sorting it out. I don't know. I in college you don't get or it doesn't, what's the word? Like, you don't get it held against you if you don't play this year, right?
Correct.
Like, everyone in college gets another. This year doesn't count. This year doesn't count.
So
well,
why
you don't lose eligibility? Well, you don't lose eligibility in college. It could be held against you. I mean, a coach doesn't have to say why he's moving on from you and releasing you from your scholarship. They can do that. In high school, I mean, isn't going to high school a little more than just playing sports? I mean, if you're a kid
right now we're specifically talking about clubs and collegiate athletes that might have scholarships. So I'm only talking about like those players that it's worth infecting your grandmother with coronavirus with. It's worth that to you to play. Well, like, could we maybe make it to where you could just sit out a year? But I get also you're missing a year of training and playing and all that too. So I mean,
I know they're talking about that. Like, I do know that that's on the table, but I don't know how realistic that is from a logistical perspective to have all those kids come back and play another year. Like, they're not going to attend school for another year. I don't know who said it in the chat, but like, states don't have the money to pay for those kids. They don't have the infrastructure to keep the kids for another year. And so logistically, I don't even know how that would work. But at this club level, at the Winter Circle Athletics club league that's going on, so a lot of the kids that are out there are like 3 stars, or they're on the verge of, they maybe have one smaller school offer. They want to, they're getting offers. Maybe they have like a Sacramento State offer, and they want to, or like they're like a UNLV kind of caliber player, like a Mountain Wet. Like, they're getting like, these are kids.
Wow.
Yeah, these are one of the quarterbacks I saw. He's got a
there. That was a little dig there. That felt like a dig there.
No, I'm just saying they're not like SC Alabama kids, but they're like UNLV, Wyoming, Oregon State. Like, how's that a dig?
I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know if you're talking about good schools or bad ones. Yeah, like I don't know where you went with this.
I don't know, if you get a scholarship to go play at Oregon State, you've accomplished something for your family, and you might be a kid, might be the first kid in the family who's getting a chance to go to school. So any scholarships you get to any level is good. I think Alex was just making the point that these are guys who right now are, say, mid-major players with potential upside to get bigger scholarships. So that's why they need to play. They're trying to fight maybe to get up to that next level.
Yeah, they're not 5 stars, is what I'm saying. They're not there's not really a lot of 5 stars, but there's 3 stars, and there's kids out there. There's kids out there that are. I know there's a kid that in the game I was watching last Saturday, there was a U of A commit, there was a Boston College commit that are they're playing because they want to. I mean, there's 18 teams. Like, if you actually think about the numbers and you think about the COVID risk, shit, it's high. I mean, there's 18 teams out there every weekend, and there's like probably 50 players on a team. That being said, I don't want to bang it's COVID safe because there's actually no bleachers and everyone's outdoors and there's masks and there's really limited spectators. I don't want to bang that drum too hard because I think like it's, at the end of the day, you still are having competition and people together. So there's a risk involved. But I think it does err on the side of safety, but that's not even the reason I bring it up. I support it because I do get from the perspective of a junior or a senior. If you were a junior last year, if you were a junior last year in some sports, you're having that. Like if you were a junior last year playing baseball, you had your junior year taken away and probably your senior year taken away. Yep. And if you're a senior this year and you're playing football is your thing, and that gets taken away, like I just get why you would take the risk. And I know it's Cofield. You're like, would you risk killing grandma or would you risk heart disease? They're taking that risk. Like they're saying it's worth it because they want to play football because that's what matters.
But how does grandma feel about that? Did we ask grandma how she feels about that? And Brady had said something earlier, like, can I play sports and not see grandma? And yes, of course you can. I don't know. Like, I don't even really want to argue this because I understand your side. It's not that I'm like totally against you, but I'm also totally against you because it's just what the whole freaking point right now is if we don't do that stuff, then the spread stops and then we can all stop talking about it. But I also get that it's happening at collegiate levels. I understand there's money involved. I understand all of these things. I understand. I never got unemployment. I can't work during the day because I have to homeschool my kid. I couldn't do any of my day jobs. Now I work from home. Like, I get it. It affects me too. But at the end of the day, do I support it? No. Like, do we vote yes or no, black and white? No, I don't. But I totally get it. I totally get it. So I don't know.
No, for sure. I feel you. I mean, and money talks, right? Like this is my passion and I'm getting paid. So obviously I'm biased because I'm like, hell yeah, I want to call these games.
Yeah.
But it is these high school kids are sitting back and they've been waiting and they see college get to play. They see NFL get to play, money talking. And I'm sitting back here and I'm seeing Cofield get to do UNLV games. And I'm like, that's fucked up. I want to do high school games. Like, why can't they figure it out for me? Why does Cofield get to do these UNLV games? And so then club football guy calls me up. Hey, Alex, you want to do the Sunset League Argonauts games? Hell yeah. I'll wear a mask. Let's get out there and do it. And now I'm trying to do more. It's like, it's hard to tell people like, oh yeah, these other leagues with more money get to do it, but you guys don't get to do it. And you brought that. That's hard. That's hard. Also, they're not gonna. I saw Willie G in the chat saying they got to do a bubble, but like, there's absolutely no way they could logistically do a bubble with all these kids, thousands of people. Like, they just couldn't do it.
Where can we hear the game?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, does Ray follow me on Twitter? At Dr. Croft, Dr_Croft, because I tweet out the link. I tweet out the link on that, or you can go to sunsetargofootball.com, ARGO, Sunset Argonauts, and that sports guy with like the personal perspective, right? Because ethics and decisions are proximal. Like, if you got hit with COVID or your family, then you're like, fuck football. Well, why would I play football? My mother-in-law's dying, so I get that. Well,
I think for you, honestly, I just think it's like, like you got to take your stand kind of thing. Like when the second round, when I just quarantined again, I was talking last week on the show about how I told my mom and my best friend, and she's like, well, but I'm supposed to go to California this weekend. And then my best friend's like, but I have a job tomorrow. I'm like, no, you don't, because this is like now your next step. You've been exposed. So now here's your next step. And this is how we do this. So I guess just whatever your take is, just stick with it. Like if you think it's okay to do it, but you just have to use precautions, wear masks, and you don't think it's that big of a deal, then that's cool. That's you. I just feel like everyone should. How is football different? Allie's kids. Sorry, I saw my name and my kid. Allie's kid playing with friends. Random friends have quarantined 2 times. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like, stick with what you're doing and doing it. He's not allowed to play with them anymore. I thought like once we went through the first round, that would all be good. But now we're kind of all just chilling out from each other in the whole neighborhood. So that's what I mean by I would love to go drop him off and go play soccer for freaking twice a week, but that's just not a possibility. I don't know. Everyone makes good points all over it, my thing is just that this is how I feel. So this is what I'm going to project onto you, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the way you feel, and you can project it onto me. So I just think whatever do with what you're comfortable with,
I get it, because the guy that's running the league is like, I'm a fucking pioneer. We're changing high school football. Fuck Gavin Newsom. We're playing this. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. Like, he's like, these kids are, I mean, maybe there's truth to this. He's like, these kids are suicidal. They're depressed. Football, sports is what they have, which I think there's actually validity to that. And he's like, and we're saving the world right now. And I'm like, okay, so he thinks he's Captain America. And I'm like, okay, pump the brakes, but I'm still going to be out there calling these games because that's like what I want to do, So it's, and then it's, it's tough, man. I find myself sometimes thinking like a conservative talk show host with the way I'm like justifying things in my mind. And I'm like, oh God, you know what I mean? But it's, I feel you, Allie.
Yeah, because like, that's just it. Like I say something, but like, how much do I believe in it? Like, not to be a hypocrite. I don't know. Like, I sometimes don't know how I feel. Like, it's so much a case to case, state to state, age to age, person to person kind of situation that it's just hard to say what's right and what's wrong, I guess, at the end of the day. I definitely feel in my heart of hearts, though, final answer, that until this gets like figured out, I get college sports, I get pro sports, they're adults, there's money involved. With children, I think it's just a little bit different, and I don't feel the exact same way. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So so to bring it back to college football, last night, Bama won, and we saw Bama fans packing the street, partying in Tuscaloosa, an instant super spreader event. And now I don't want to go full conservative talk show host here, but Cofield, this actually relates to something you and I have talked about. Like, can we blame them? Because you told me we talked about this when the Dodgers won the World Series, and we were doing a show that night, and we were seeing all these videos of people in the streets in LA partying and whatnot. And I think I asked you, Cofield, okay, what if Rutgers won the national championship of football? And you said, COVID or not, I'd die that night. And that stuck with me. That stuck with me because I thought, as an Oregon State football fan, diehard, whether it was a pandemic or not, I'm probably going to jail and or dying if the Beavers won the national championship. Like, you couldn't keep me out of the streets. Now from that mindset, I'm like, maybe I can't blame Bama, except for that they have been there. Like, this isn't new for them. This isn't Rutgers or Oregon State. This is Bama football,
Just, I was being sarcastic for the most part. I would not go out into a group of people, especially without a mask on. And that's, one of the bigger issues. I'm also not 19, even though like none of my Yankees have won a lot, but the two teams that I like the most haven't won. I'm old enough where I could celebrate on my own. I'm not going to put myself at risk, but yeah, last night that's not a good look for Tuscaloosa. I mean, there were how many people in those pictures you saw? We're talking 10,000 people all crammed in to one street, like 3 blocks.
Mask.
Come on, folks.
No mask.
Insane. That was insane. That was like Times Square, New Year's Eve, insane,
And then I get to the point where like, I don't want to be a fucking, just completely insensitive prick about it. But like, you'd actually, if you had proof that someone went to a super spreader event, you'd almost like the hospital, if they're at like 99.9%, to be able to deny service, deny care. But then we start getting to like Big Brother involved, and people can come at me like, you eat like a fat fuck if you have a heart attack. How about you don't get treatment at a hospital? Like, we don't want them with selective care. It's very dangerous. But it's a bad look. It's a bad look when there's 10,000 people on the streets all over each other, no mask, breathing on each other, drinking and screaming and yelling.
Cofield goes to the ER. Sir, don't you own a deli slicer? You do not qualify. You do not qualify for COVID care.
I watched your video. Can you mix in a salad, you prick? Get out of here. Actually, I'll be doing the Chris Farley in my chest, trying to clear whatever blockage I've got. Like, sorry, you bragged all the time about eating red meat every night. And by the way, I fixed my slicer situation. I finally gave up.
Fuck yes.
I finally gave up on finding the $4 blade lock, and I just bought a whole new slicer. So
let's go, dude.
Brand. Did you get a Hobart?
No,
Talk dirty to me, Steve. Tell me you got a Hobart. Come on.
I really need to get one. But now I'm a little worried that if
never buy another one again.
My worry is if I invest in a Hobart that's like $450, is that good enough?
Dude, you'll never buy another one again. I'm telling you.
Most of them want 800, 1200, 1500, 2000.
Was older than I was. I swear. This thing was a fucking tank of a Hummer of a like. It was, I'm like, ugh. And I would have to like try to switch arms on it so I didn't build up one really big bicep. Let me tell you, man, once you buy a Hobart, you never go back.
Sorry if I'm late to the party here, but Allie, how do you know so much about deli slicers?
Because I was the manager of Rocco's New York Italian Deli for 2 years. Then I was the assistant kitchen manager of Magnoni's Trattoria in Riverside, California.
Respect.
And yeah, I was a kitchen manager and like chef of places for like 5 or 6 years of my life.
Damn, I didn't know you sliced like that.
I know my meats. I know how to wrap a meat. You know, I can handle a sausage.
Hey, I've always struggled with the wrapping of the meat.
Take it away.
You're anti-wrapping? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say anti. I didn't say anti. I just said
not so much into the wrapping part.
Yeah, like, just more of the
like to spread my seed, roll the dice.
Now you got to wrap your meat and put it away. So it was always just.
Listen up, guys. That would be awesome. I would definitely go sleeveless shirt. I would have the bloodiest apron I could find, just meat blood all over it.
Oh yeah, baby. Carnage.
Hairnet, definitely a hairnet.
Kind of like the Chris Farley lunch lady land.
You gotta have your plastic glove that you keep in your pocket, your apron pocket, and then you take it out and put it on when you have to do something, and then you put it back. That's important if you're going to be a true deli guy.
So I came out of the gates because I had some frozen meat that I had to slice up. So I came out of the gates with a little turkey pastrami. I threw some provolone on there. That sliced okay. I wasn't really happy with the quality of the slicer on the provolone. And plenty of meat to go. So
what was wrong with the quality of slice on the provolone? Maybe I can help you out here.
I almost feel like you know what it felt like. You ever see someone cut tile?
Yep.
Right. And they got the tile blade, but there's always a water spitting on there. Right. I think I need like a water spitter because what was happening was it was getting a little stuck on the kind of the metal that kind of leads to the slicer. So I wasn't happy about that, but I'll figure it out. I'm
going to tell you now, provolone does that.
It does
the way it rolls. Yeah, that's kind of a provolone thing. So you're all right there. I would go with a real thin, like get it down to as thin as you can and shave your provolone, and it works a lot better. You don't get the spit. And always, the thinner the meat, the thinner the cheese, the better the flavor.
I feel like a fly on the wall with two experts talking shop. I love it.
All right, if you had 11:29 p.m., you win.
Wow. You know what? I think she did it honestly. I really thought she was going to go back and look at a time and try to screw one of you guys, but she didn't do it. So 11:29. Who's closest? Willie, I totally agree. The provolone I got, not super pungent. I'll be looking for something a little more genuine.
God, I love good deli talk, man. I tried to start a podcast 2 years ago, Cofield, called Sandos and Randos.
Yeah.
Where it's like a sandwich talk, and like I wanted to go do it live at like different delis. We did one episode, but the logistics were a nightmare. Like we would like go, we like went to a local sandwich shop and just like, hey, can we like kind of like record a podcast at the table in the corner? And they were like, what? They were like confused. They said, sure, whatever, just don't be noisy. But it was a logistical nightmare. But I have hope, and I think that you could be actually the guy maybe to spearhead a sandwich. Sandos and Randos. I think it would just be sandwiches and you're talking to random people. I think it could be real quality content.
Sports talk right out the window. I might try a little Pam Miller J. And on the slicer, I'm not going to bring it upstairs, but there's basic home slicers that are about like 60 to 120, and I swear to God, one company makes it and it's branded with like 6 different names, and they're all about the same. I'll tell you one thing I noted: they're not all the cheaper ones are not put together real well, because the one I got there, it looks like you could easily snap it apart, which ain't good. So I'm gonna have to learn how to weld to fix the thing when it eventually breaks. But I did get a warranty this time, so I did get a warranty if the blade lock snaps or breaks or there's a issue with whatever, it's covered. It's covered for the next 4 years. Not playing games anymore, all right? I can't go 5 months, 4 months without slicing meat. This is bullshit. Time is short. Time is short when you eat like I eat, and I'm, you're as old as I am. So
it is a slippery slope, though. Like you said, Cofield, it's a slippery slope with were you at a super spreader event with Bama celebrating? Do you own a deli slicer? Like denying care and sort of that big brother thing that we're seeing right now a little bit with like people getting kicked off of social media. And the other link that I sent in our rundown was, the city of LA shut off utilities at a house that I guess had a couple parties. They just shut off the utilities. Like I hate the term.
But again, like you said, what did you say earlier? It's all personal. So you could have people who see that, like, especially depending on where the party is, right? If the party is in a lower income neighborhood, if people find out, hey, it's people of color throwing the party, those same people will go fuck them. But they could be the same people who just did what happened last week. They're on no-fly list, and they're like, what the hell? Where's my rights as an American? Like, hey, you wanted hardcore treatment for one group. Here you go. Here's your hardcore treatment.
For sure.
Let's have an even playing field here. Anyone who fucks up, right, is violating rules. In this case, part of an insurrection. You think it's fun, like you're running into a mall and, tearing down posters. Instead, the rest of the crowd at the Capitol is trying to go kill politicians. Sorry. Should have read up on the laws a little more. Tough luck.
Yeah. It's kind of fascinating to see that, like the list, or I guess who was at the Capitol insurrection. Like you keep seeing, like
amazing.
You just the list keeps growing. Like I just saw, this doesn't surprise me, but some Orange County school board members were there. Yep.
Think about it. You've got school board members, politicians, people who have served their country. We had the whatever he was he a lieutenant general, lieutenant colonel, whatever he was, pretty high ranking officer in the Air Force, went to the Air Force Academy. He's there. He's fucked. And then you've got a guy who wears fucking horns, paints his face, lives in his mother's basement, has a ton of debt, and has to eat organic food. Like, how do those two people blend? How does the decorated Air Force guy, how does he not look over and go, what the fuck am I doing? Look at this goddamn loser. This is everything I worked against and spoke against. Basically kids these days, and we're arm in arm trying to topple the government. What?
The internet's crazy, man. The internet and the fucking the whatever disinformation. What's the word I'm looking for? Disinformation, but it's like on purpose. Like people were deceived on purpose or chose to be deceived and went and did this. And it's like, yeah, you've got the Air Force veteran right next to the fucking mom's basement organic food shirtless guy, and they believe the same thing somehow.
Allie, you don't even have like a little cooler bag?
No, because I know I'm gonna have to pee. So at some point, I'm
but
gonna
you grab two now. So I don't know. We have to get you. We have to get you a mini.
Usually I sit here with two tall cans. That's
I know.
for little guys. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if Alex just said this, but this is tremendous too. The freaking swimmer over and over.
I saw that.
Multiple-time medalist. He's out there. Here's the other thing. The lack of common sense, like being, first of all, not taking it seriously. You don't think you're doing anything wrong, but the fact that you have free reign to wear a fucking mask now. You're committing a crime. You're part of an insurrection, and that day you don't wear a fucking mask? What are you, stupid? Well, the answer is yes.
Yes.
So now we've got all these internet sleuths who love to dox, and they're like, okay. I can do this all. I'm not me, but I can do this all day long and catch hundreds of people. It's amazing. This last week has been amazing. It's only going to get more amazing the next 10, 12 days. This is so far from over. We're finding out how many freaking, I'll call them crazy, how many crazies we have out there. Aren't you guys mind blown by all this? I thought it would come to this, but I don't think I realized how. Well, I guess, we should realize it, right? I mean, I'm not saying everyone who voted for Trump is crazy, but, if the guy's pushing past 70 million votes, there's a lot of super intense people out there.
This was effing mind-blowing to me. This entire waking up and the Capitol is under siege and there's blood on the floor of the house. And I mean, this was fucking mind-blowing to me. I could not wrap my head around it. And I like wanted to show my kid what's happening. And then I'm like, I don't know if he wants to see what's happening. I didn't even know that. And so the best I could do is call my friend in Portland and hang lines on it. So I think I definitely cashed the under on 200 masks in the crowd. Definitely cashed that. And I lost on the under 10 people in the hospital. There were 5. So, I mean, that like my brain could only process this by kind of taking it lightly because it was so absurd. But at the same time, didn't we all kind of know this was happening? Like, I feel like for weeks I've been saying Trump is going to get dragged out of the White House by the National Guard, kicking and screaming. And like, it's just, that was just kind of part of what was happening. This is insanity, absurdity. This is 2020. This is 2021 now, but it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it was so interesting and compelling and hypnotic, and you couldn't take your eyes off of it at the same time. Could we just impeach him? Could that, like, that's going to happen, right? We're going to do that, right? Tomorrow, that's the day. Let's do it. We cannot come back in 4 years. Like, we can't do this again. We can't do this all again in 4 fucking years. No. Maybe you can.
If you really hate the Trumps, DJT and the kids, you're rooting for them to come back in 2024.
Oh, call him DJT
because they will not win, because they will splinter the votes, but he doesn't give a shit. So his goal is him. That's it. He's not going to be. It's not going to be defeat Biden. It's get me back in the office, and he won't realize how splintered things are at that point. So I hope he lives. I hope he gets healthier. I hope he takes freaking PEDs. Yeah, do it again. Run for it again.
How do you guys feel about Ivanka? Because like, as much as I want to hate Ivanka, I love her. I don't know what it is about that chick. I just love that chick. I don't know she's so pretty. I just want to watch her teeth when she talks. I don't know. How do guys feel about Ivanka? Is it just me?
No comment. You don't want to hear what I have to say. So.
Both of you.
Yeah.
It does. She does. I mean, hateful people don't get me hard, really.
Okay, that's fair enough. She doesn't. She doesn't get me hard, because I wouldn't kick her out of bed, boys. Okay.
No, I don't like Ivanka. All right, like she doesn't do it for me. But I'm glad you brought up the kids, Cofield, because if we could get some more Eric and Donald Trump Jr. Like campaigning and stuff, that to me is like great entertainment, as long as it's like kept to the sideshow. It's once it becomes the main attraction that I'm not surprised. Brady brings up a good point. I was talking to some QAnon girls. So talked to a QAnon guy today. The barista at the coffee shop was like he was trying to QAnon. He was trying to tell me about like what's crazy about QAnon is that, Allie, wait, are you QAnon, Allie, or that's just a joke?
No, it's just a joke. I'm checking out what's in your background over here. I want to know what's going on in your house. Okay, sorry.
I just moved. It's kind of a serial killer-esque. It's kind of empty and bare right now. Check back in me when I decorate.
I got my degree in interior design, so.
You did? You got to see my upstairs living room.
On your walls, maybe a lamp, a plant, a nice house plant would work out.
No. You got to see my upstairs living room. It's dialed. It's like, ooh, you'll love the interior design there. This down here, this is.
Why wouldn't you shoot your videos there?
My roommate was watching a movie, so I'm down here in the basement.
All right, fair enough.
What was I? Oh, the QAnon barista today. He was just like, I was like, hey man, can I get a cold brew? And he was like, crazy week, huh? And I was like, yeah.
Oh man. No. So then that's the worst situation. You got to read. I definitely tiptoe. You got to read it and
I tiptoed hard.
You got to keep throwing it back, and then you can. Yeah, at that point, if they're against you, you can kind of choose to argue or just go, and just fucking walk out. But it's always a dangerous game, man. When you're overly friendly and here's the bait, trying to get Alex to come in. Is he going to take the bait?
I actually was in the mood. I went on a walk. I went on a long walk today. Like I walked, I think I walked like 2.5 miles to the coffee shop. Then I got a coffee and walked back. That was like my exercise. So I was like, I had just walked there. I just finished like a long walk, and I was like, let's go. I'm the only one in here right now. So I was like, oh yeah, man. What in particular's got you thinking it's crazy? Just like, I don't know.
Yep.
I was trying to egg him on, and he was like, do you see how the military, they've got military and troops at all 50 states and capitals? What's up with that? And I was like, oh, wasn't there like a memo that there's going to be like armed protests at all the states and capitals on inauguration? He's like, do you believe the memo? And I was like, I don't know. Do you? And then it just kind of spiraled. But basically his whole point was, he's like, I'm not a Trump guy, believe me. But like, what if before he like went out of office, he took down all the pedos in Hollywood and all the pedos in the government? And like, he's like, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying like, he's been banned from all these platforms, but he's still got control of FEMA and like the emergency broadcast system. And he's like, I think that before he gets out of office, he's going to send out a memo like on the emergency broadcast system telling us who all the pedophiles in Hollywood and the government are. And they're trying to silence him. And he's like, Mitch McConnell's distancing himself because he knows what Trump knows. And my friend was an actor and he killed himself 2 years ago because he was trying to expose QAnon. And he went on this whole thing and actually looked up his friend. Yeah, so he's like, look up my friend. Look up, I gotta find his name. I have it on here. He's like, look up so and so, and I looked him up, and he was like a small-time Hollywood actor who was super like Tom Hanks is a pedo. Seth Green, like he was super. He like started the Tom Hanks pedophile thing, and he did kill himself 2 years ago. And this guy at the coffee shop was like, he didn't kill himself, bro. But I went.
Yeah. Like, I don't think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Well, I don't. I mean, no.
Sounds like a loss.
Anyway,
this whole pedo thing is so crazy to me that they would even bring it up because it seems like projecting. Like whenever my kid's dad,
look at those pedos, not me.
Dad will text me, he's like, "You're just partying all night and betting on sports all day," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." Oh, but I bet that's what you're doing, though, because that's like what you're projecting on me. Yeah. And it's like, clearly, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends. Clearly, Donald has a crush on his own daughter. Clearly, there are like weird things going on with Donald Trump. So I feel like he's projecting this pedophile thing onto Biden because he's the pedophile here. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein's dead. I think there's like a special island where all these people go to. Here's QAnon Alley. Hi guys. Yeah.
He's here. That should have been the over-under.
He's dead. I think that, I'm not there, man. I think Sharon Tate is on an island somewhere. Like, I don't think
Sharon Tate
happened. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sharon Tate got killed. I do not think that whole thing went down. I think it was staged 100%. But Jim Morrison, same thing. Don't think he was dead. He's in the same loop. Think they're all on an island partying together. Not Jeffrey Epstein's island, because that's a Lord of the Rings fucking place right there where little kids are like eating each other's ears to get off of it and shit, blowing conch shells to get the balls off that island. Yeah, pedophile. Next.
Brady was right. Yeah, Brady was right. Isaac Cappy was the barista's friend. Isaac Cappy was
no way.
Actor. Yeah, do you know who that is?
Christ, Brady, with the research.
Yeah, that's the guy. And so the barista was like, hey, the barista actually was pretty good. Now I know, like, I'm in LA, like this was in Hollywood almost. So it's, this guy might've had a little acting background, but he had me going for a minute. Cause he was like, bro, I didn't really, he's like, I thought this was just another crazy week and another like fucked up Trump news cycle until I saw my friend's name. So I guess like one of Trump's lawyers tweeted like Isaac Cappy has like the Q encryption codes, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, dude, Isaac Cappy was like my friend. And it caught my eye. And he was always talking about all this pedo shit in Hollywood before he killed himself. And I was like, okay, you've got me hooked. Like, let me hear more about
He was on InfoWars in the past.
Yeah. So that's like,
giant QAnon conspiracy theorist. And
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my afternoon. Like, I'm going to keep going to the coffee shop because the cold brew is fucking strong as fuck. Like, I was like, what are you drinking, bro? Give me one of those. Like, you got me believing QAnon. This espresso shot's so strong. So,
well, that was a happy story. Cheered me up.
Yeah. How did we get on that? Oh, does Steve and I want to have sex with Ivanka Trump? That's how we got there.
Yeah.
I think you do.
No.
It sounds like you didn't.
No, I don't. I don't want to have sex with her.
That's cool. We
okay,
could do
where do we go from there?
Don't talk crap. I've got my stuff. Okay. It's a whole episode. You can DM me if you want to hear about it.
Okay, so while we're on the subject, though, what do you guys think about Trump getting deplatformed from everywhere? Like today, YouTube isn't going to let him post for a week. He's off everything. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's the most beautiful thing ever. I think it's like the best thing that could have happened. And I think it's really a lesson that we need to pay attention to as Americans as a whole, that like how powerful social media is, how powerful one man can be. I mean, we remember Hitler, we remember Lenin, we remember Stalin. Like one man can ruin a lot of shit for a lot of people. And this man is on, I don't know. That's just it. We don't know this. His way to do it. So we have to stop him immediately. And this is a really important time for the FBI to, I mean, if they brush over rioting and storming the Capitol building, then like what kind of example does that set? The FBI and national security as a whole needs to step the fuck up here, because this cannot happen. Like we can't allow other people to think that this can happen, that it's even I didn't even think that was possible. Like if you talked to me 4 days ago or whatever and said people are going to riot and break windows in the Capitol building and there will be blood on the floor of the House of Representatives, I would have said that's not possible. Because there's security. This is the Capitol building. But guess what? That shit happened, So holy hell. This is huge. Like this is monumental. You have to make a stand right now. You have to put your foot down and say that this is not how we roll. And it's not how you're going to roll either, you little simple-minded douchebags.
Yeah, I mean, I retweet that 100%. Well, it's fun. No, I mean, like, all the people in the chat are right. They are private companies, and you see a lot of people on the right saying like this is censorship. They're like, how can you stifle free speech? But it is a private company just saying
propaganda. It's not censorship. It's censoring propaganda, and that's what this is. This is propaganda, and it's bullshit, and it's ridiculous, and it's gone on for way too fucking long.
Why? Well, what you just said right there, it's gone on way too long. Why didn't Facebook and Twitter do this 3.5 years ago? They're doing it now because it's an acceptable side, and anyone who's been connected to Trump is pushing away these last 2 weeks. It's gutless to me to do it now. And here's the other thing: the last guy who should be policing what anyone else does and the damage they may be doing to the United States.
It's Mark Zuckerberg.
Is Mark Zuckerberg. He is every bit as evil, and in fact more evil, because he's going to do the same thing moving forward, whatever it takes to make money, whether it's damaging or not. So Trump's out of the way. He's going to allow lots of little Trumps to keep going on. So folks need to wake up on what Facebook is and Mark Zuckerberg is doing and the power that Facebook has. So congrats, but you waited 3.5 years, but you made all this fucking money off of him. So we're supposed to give you a pat on the back now?
Well, Facebook didn't make as much money off of him as Twitter did. I mean, Twitter was really the thing here. I have 2 questions, though. One is that, one's a statement, one's a question. My statement is that his freedom of speech rights were not, like, I don't think that he should be censored for saying what he was saying until it's like inciting, I don't know if that's the right, igniting riots on the Capitol building, right? Like that is definitely worthy of taking away your First Amendment right. My question is,
let me break in here. It was inciting protest, one, but then riots and looting during the summer. Who do you think people were angry at? His word. So this had already been happening, and it's a kettle that's been brewing with his doing for 3.5 years.
Well, and I think one of the most screwed up parts of all of this, look how grown I am. I didn't say effed up. I said screwed up. Things about all of this, and they made the point during the riots, was like, if 30,000 people from Black Lives Matter were doing this at the Capitol building right now, what would the difference be? Would it be police opening gates and letting them through? Or would there be tear gas and freaking, pepper spray in the shit show that we saw over the summer during Black Lives Matter's protests, where they were peacefully protesting and we're getting all kinds of shit sprayed at them? So, I mean, that's a huge issue. My question was just, why does everybody hate Mark Zuckerberg? Like, what is it that he does that everyone doesn't like him? Because you just
it's incredibly what he set up here is incredibly manipulative. He's got people placed in echo chambers, and it all builds on itself, and they keep feeding you the same stuff over and over and over again. Now the response to that could be just stop using Facebook, but essentially people are programmed now to live in their little world. And what's even worse about Zuckerberg against Trump, and again, clearly I'm not a Trump supporter. What's even worse is, at least Trump is American. He hasn't lifted a fucking finger to stop the information flow, the negative information flow from China and Russia. Not a finger. He's actually enabled true enemies of this nation. Now you can say Trump is a traitor. He's also an enemy of this nation. But my God, the Chinese and the Russians are doing so much damage via Facebook, via Twitter. What has he done to stop that?
Nothing.
Because we talk about a P funnel and we get banned from Twitch. My friend Paula goes into Facebook jail over like a drag queen photo or something. So yeah, okay.
I mean, the Facebook and Twitter and these tech giants. They've shown who they are. They shouldn't be applauded for this. Anybody who's applauding them for doing the right thing, they're so late to the party. There's been so many other opportunities to do so many things, and that goes also for the Mitch McConnells and the Republican congressmen who are now in the 11th hour and 55 minutes condemning Trump, when them, just like Facebook and Twitter, all along the way enabled him and led up to this moment. That's why this whole thing doesn't surprise me. I know it's outrageous to say, oh, storming the Capitol doesn't surprise me, but we've seen them sowing these seeds for 4 years plus, and like now they're going to condemn it after some shit went down. It really is gutless. Like, I agree 100%. It's gutless. And it's fucked, yeah.
Gil, come on, dude. You're rewriting history. We saw it on video. He says the BLM protesters did attack a couple of federal buildings last summer. I'm glad the MAGA guys are getting dealt with, but those people should have been dealt with the same way. They got their fucking asses kicked every day. They got sprayed, beaten. We had essentially unmarked or secret police roaming the streets, just pulling up in minivans, pulling people off the streets. Are they as outed in public, in terms of their name being released, being doxxed? No, but I'll also say they weren't out there without masks on. They weren't mugging for the camera. They weren't putting up their own videos bragging about what they have done. A lot of the people who attacked the Capitol the other day have made it so easy. But I agree with you. If you attack federal buildings, if you violate federal law, if those are felonies, if they're misdemeanors, go get them. Go get them. It's too much.
Yeah.
The people in Portland that were like tagging and attacking the federal courthouse downtown, like they were fucking dealt with in a super harsh way. And by the way, they didn't go into the courthouse while court was in session with zip ties and plans to kill judges. Like, they spray painted and graffitied a courthouse, and they got shot. People died, in Portland this summer. People were shot with rubber bullets and tear gassed every day. I think shit's still going down in Portland. So
I think two things. One is that the Capitol thing could have been so much worse than it was. It could have been so much worse. With those zip ties, there was obviously another plan there. Like Nancy Pelosi, I think that's why she's so adamant, is because I think she knows they were after her. You don't come into, I don't know. You don't come in.
We're also finding out. We don't have names. We're also finding out. Sorry, Allie.
No,
we're also finding out, and we don't have names yet, that, and I said this last week, it was not some stroke of brilliance, but this was an inside job. There are people who work around Nancy Pelosi, other representatives. There are senators, and I'm not saying it's 50, but there were co-conspirators who made this effort more easier. When those names come out, man, this is something we haven't seen since fucking the 18th and early 19th centuries. But there are representatives and senators who made it easier for people to get in the building. They actually helped them. It's great. That I never thought could happen, but I guess I'm a little naive as to how programmed some people are and how attached they are to President Trump.
Let me ask you guys a question. This is like a little, I'm not sure how I feel about this. So I was really disturbed that Trump was giving so much, what am I trying to say? Trump really cared about keeping Confederate statues up and things like that, but he had no problem rioting and bombing the freaking Capitol building. How do you guys feel about these Confederate statues? Because like I'm on the one hand just a history person, and if it's part of the history of our nation, then that's part of the history of our nation. But I also don't want to glorify, I'm also super civil rights, and I don't want to glorify those guys. So how do you guys feel about keeping or losing the statues of Confederate generals? Steve, you can start. Alex, you can start.
Oh, I was gonna say I just don't really give a shit about Confederate statues because, as far as what I've read and researched, now take this with a grain of salt, because I feel you. Like, if we don't learn history, we're doomed to repeat it. But I do think that a statue in a public square isn't necessary. Like, we're not necessarily learning the history of the Reconstruction and of civil rights and of actual struggles that went on. But by putting someone up on a horse in a public square that was a Confederate soldier, we're glorifying them, but we're not necessarily learning history. And so for that reason, I don't have any problem. I'd rather see some actual history get learned than to glorify someone. And then this is what I was going to say, and I don't take this with a grain of salt because I don't know how true it is. But as far as my research has told me, a lot of those statues were put up very far after the fact of the Civil War by pro-Confederate, pro-slavery, like racist Ku Klux Klan related movements. And so for that reason, it's like, I don't even think, it's not like these were our brothers and they fell in the war. It's like, hey, we got to remind people that the South will rise again. And that's fucked up,
Nailed it.
Yeah. Miller J. Vegas.
Most of them were built in the first 20 years of the 20th century. There were more put up, like Miller J. said, in the 50s and 60s. And it was a clear sign from, some people in these towns to say, we're still here. All right. You ain't free. You don't have the same rights. You're a second-class citizen. We may have lost the war, but here's a reminder: don't fuck with us.
I love that,
here, and we will get you. So the statues don't even represent what they're reported to represent. They're fucking statues. Who cares? And but it is funny if I have no idea if the executive order that DJT signed, 10 years in prison if you deface or damage a statue. I hope it applies to. I would love 10-year minimum for anyone who stepped foot in the Capitol. Would be awesome. Now that's not going to happen. It should, No,
but I want to say real quick, thank you, Miller J, because that was kind of the answer that I was looking for. Was they were put up in the 50s and 60s, Jim Crow. Okay, got you. Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, right. Context.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Actually try to learn some history. What was I going to say? Oh, just to that point earlier from Gilda Thrill about BLM protesters, a lot of people like actually associated with the Black Lives Matter movement this summer are facing some serious jail time for some pretty minor shit. So if you wanted to say, oh, they should be they should be hit with the heavy hand of the law, if that was the stance you wanted to take, which I disagree with, a lot of people are very unfairly facing some serious shit.
Willie confused me because I thought he was talking about a Tara statue from like Gone with the Wind, and then he said Tark, and I'm like, oh, got you, boo. That's Jerry Tarkanian, Alex. He's the coach of UNO.
I know Jerry Tarkanian. Don't take that shit down.
I don't know. Never. Oh yeah, my kid gets a picture with it every season.
No, I respect.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go.
No, finish up.
No, I was just gonna say I like Jerry Tarkanian. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna go back 2 minutes with the private companies shutting down Twitter accounts of certain people. I do believe in this case it is a slippery slope, and big tech does have a lot of power. So,
so much power, dude. So much power. Like, it is a slippery slope, but at the same time, they shut people down. I don't think we should be up in arms. Oh my God, they shut the U.S. president down. They shut people down all the time for stupid shit. Like they're constantly censoring people. I don't give a fuck if Trump should be treated the same as all three of us. You know what I mean? Like if I was inciting violence on Twitter, I'd be shut down in a heartbeat. I don't give a shit if he's the president.
I'm not really sure what this means. The statues are part of U.S. history. If you don't like them, that's your problem. Okay. Yeah, it's our problem. There are more people out there who have a problem with it. So guess what? The people win.
Well, and did you?
In this case, majority rules, and in other cases, you know what? Sometimes the minority rules. You know, well, if you had said that in 1963, you know, hey, you know, white power and stronger rights for whites. That's the way it is in the U.S. If that you don't like it, it's your problem. Well, I don't fucking like it, so we're gonna fight back on it. So.
Yeah, the context really makes all the sense, but I mean, then you have to ask, like, where's the Rosa Parks stat? And I'm sure there's one out there, you know, the Rosa Parks. Where's the Martin Luther King? And I know they just made a park. I want to say it was in New York, maybe a couple months ago, but it was all women. It was like a Susan B. Anthony statue, and it was a Rosa Parks, and it was a bunch of women in this whole little park. God, I want to say it's in New York, but yeah, that's what they did. Park of statues dedicated to women, because guess what, women don't get recognized for the stuff we do all the time either, you know. So I mean, it's that's just it. We don't need like old white Confederate men to be our only statues. If they're going to be statues and they're going to be part of our U.S. history, then our statues need to be more representative of our actual U.S. history, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
There we go. Yeah, fuck yeah.
You can keep your Andrew Jackson, but I'm going to need, it's like Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Jackson for a Maya Angelou. What you got, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be
I was going to say
history, then it needs to be inclusive.
Yeah, in the smallest way, if you're
like, that's what I mean. I know they do. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? But you know what I'm saying here. Where's George Washington Carver? Where's his statue, Brady? Google that. I did a report on him in the 5th grade.
I did too.
Yeah,
I did too. 5th grade. Yes.
Because it was a lame ass 28-day Black History Month. We had to pick our favorite Black person out of 6 that they gave us, you know, and he made peanuts and we liked that. And that's why we picked him. I like peanut butter. You know, right? Like that in itself is just fucked up. Did you do Eli Whitney and the Cotton Gin? Because I did that one too.
I just remember going. I remember going all in on George Washington Carver. Like I remember really researching him. Yeah, GWs. They should make a George Washington Carver movie. Like they should make a badass movie about him. How's that not been a thing?
I remember, like, didn't he invent a bunch of things? And like, was one of the things he was really good at doing. I don't know.
He invented a ton of shit. He found like over 100 uses for the peanut, and he invented a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
he was a botanist. Yeah, he's like badass botanist. They should make a movie about him.
There it is. He's not my favorite Black person, Miller J. I'm just saying. I did a report on him.
I did the same report. Well, different report, but same assignment.
Well, I think the information was probably limited, so we probably came out with the same conclusion in our reports. But nonetheless, that's the problem, though, right? If we are going to have statues that are representative of U.S. history, then they need to be representative of all of it. Who's my favorite Black person?
This is a slippery slope.
Michael Jordan's the first one that pops into my head, but I don't think that's the right answer. I'm going to go Medgar Evers on this one. I have a lot of Medgar Evers quotes in my journals. His story always kind of hit me, like the gun down in the driveway situation. Medgar Evers was like I'm going to Medgar Evers here.
Try not to fan the flames, Brady. She can see the chat room, so I can't control that part of it. Try not to put it on the screen.
Yeah. What's wrong with Medgar Evers?
Truth from Duluth with some recency bias here. Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Alex, this is the time of the show when you're like, the unraveling is here.
Oh, I've been watching the Unravel, or not the show, the Unravel. That's the Undoing. No, I like watching as Allie works her way through 5 Bud Lights throughout the program.
Oh,
and the audience teases her with bait.
This is my drinking night. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Actually,
I go to bed at 9:30 or 10 every night. Like, this is my night that I stay up and get drunk. It's not like I go out to bars and go do things. This is my social time where I get to like party and throw some back with my friends. So
This is it. Okay.
Speaking of like
my party, guys. Yeah. I got my fancy earrings on and everything. I told you this is my 4th show of the day. Like, I do
oh my God.
9 a.m. free picks. I do my other free pick. Then I do my total NHL. This is my 4th show of the day. Like, this is.
I was gonna whip out my moves. It's party time.
Dude,
Who was it?
A freaking 9-0 run. I did my 1 free pick show. I gave 6 picks, 6-0. The next day, I gave 4 picks. I was 3-0 until fucking Utah State. Was it Utah State? Something about the Utah State game jacked me up. I think it went under by one. No, it was SDSU and Nevada went over by 1 point, and I had the under. But I was 9-0, and that 10th game got me. So I was 9-1 over 2 days. I went on the run of my life there.
How about you keep it going? You make sure you're available for in-game wagering on all the playoff games this weekend, so I can actually win money.
All right. Let's
Yeah,
see.
like wait,
You screwed me by not telling me to play Alabama. I should have been playing Alabama against Ohio State in game.
No, that's
Allie.
not my sport anyway.
This is all about me.
If can you like give a shameless self plug here? Like, if I like this weekend with NFL games, if I wanted to make some in-game plays, where could I find your?
Look, I'm going to tell you guys just honest, straight off the bat, right? We got a guy named Chip Chirimbus. Willie was talking about him. He is old school. And I have been doing the Total Chaos shows I've been telling you all about. The whole deal of it is you win or you go home, right? Or really you go to a different sport because there's 4 Total Chaoses going on right now. Chip Chirimbus is on his 4th win. Wild card weekend, he was 5-1. The week before that, he was 11-5. The week he got knocked out, he was 6-2. Sean Higgs was 7-1. This guy's on freaking fire right now, okay? You don't even need to buy picks. Like, just watch on Friday the Total Chaos show. He will give you just take whatever Chip Chirimbus says to do, over or under. Just do it, man. He's so 12-4 in the NBA right now. I mean, this guy, he's on fire. I've never seen anything like it. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. And just while I'm talking about Total Chaos real quick, we just did tonight the very first NHL Total Chaos. It's on my Twitter feed now. Just search for it. But they give the over/under on every game that happens tomorrow in the NHL, the opening day NHL games. So it's 2 Canadians, so you can trust them. Chip isn't there, but Chip Chirimbus's NFL is insane, man. Go buy his picks. I don't know. Chip is freaking badass.
If I want to like watch Total Chaos and get picks, where is it? Just on Twitter or?
I do it. Okay, so the way I broadcast from my StreamYard thing from BeLive is it goes to YouTube and Facebook. So if you search Total Chaos picks and parlays on YouTube, you'll get it there. But then I always try to repost them on my Twitter. But they don't get the thumbnail and it doesn't look as fancy. But yeah, so Total Chaos picks and parlays on YouTube, on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and then on Twitter. Yeah, you'll find it, man.
Okay.
It's I got college. I did NHL tonight, college basketball tomorrow, NBA Thursday, NFL Friday. It's a real thing. Oh, why would you put her up? Of all people, you're going to put Chelsea up? Really? Well, now I'm going to go pee again. No, I'm not.
Hey, speaking of things that made me laugh in the chat tonight, Miller J. Vegas earlier had a comment when I said, I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just like to call games.
It's National
Championship
Week in college football, and we've got a special code for 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net. The code is CHAMP. The home team is a favorites in this one, -130.
Allie, what do you got?
On what?
What's going on? We can't hear. Alex, why'd you mute her?
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you keep muting me.
It's like
No,
you're setting up a rivalry between the lead host on Picks and Parlays. What the fuck, dude?
She's the lead host. She started.
And how do you feel about it?
How I got my job. So Chelsea Messenger's husband is Jake Buchanan, who is actually a pitcher for the Aviators, which is just a funny situation because I do stats for the Aviators. But she got pregnant last year at some time, and so I got hired to fill in for her, and that's how I got my job. Was that they weren't sure that she would return, and so I got my job that way. But she's fantastic. I love Chelsea Messenger. I'm just not sure why, if I'm on your show, why you'd show a clip of her. That's where I'm at right now.
That was a gaffe. That was a gaffe. I just pulled up the first video I could find. It was random. I would never do that on purpose. The guys know that. I would never stir the pot.
I don't mind anyway. Chelsea's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a professional though. Like she went to college to be she went to college for this. She's a grown-up about it. And I'm more like, I have a snapback and pigtails sometimes. No, I love Chelsea. No. There's no jealousy. There's no jealousy. There's no jealousy. But if this is my time on your show that I'm not getting paid for, I'd kind of like my freaking video to pop up. Like even the one I'm trying to promote and talk about right now. So if you want to call it jealousy, that's
I love it.
No, I love Chelsea. No, I love everyone. I'd tell you if I didn't. I'd be like, no, that girl. But that's not it. No, she's great. The other thing about Chelsea, she lives in Nashville and her baby sleeps by the window of her skyrise that she lives in. And that explosion that went off in Nashville was like blocks away from her house. So like we just had to go through like a whole Chelsea. We didn't have to go through anything, but like I went through like a very worried about Chelsea kind of situation because you don't know what else is going to happen in Nashville. So yeah. Anyway, the end. No, she's great. Don't get me wrong.
Shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like, why did that even happen? Don't hate me, you guys. Don't be silly. I'm not a girl hater.
No, you're like let's build statues of these women. Let's go.
Well, Chelsea was also mentioned in the article that we were all us girls were mentioned.
Yeah.
So, hey, guess what? We're pioneers and shit, okay? We're girls that bet on sports. No, Q Alley doesn't. Something's a little funny with my microphone. You're gonna see that. Okay, now we're better here.
That's better.
Friends at home, if you've been following along, Total Chaos is one of our best shows we've been doing. And now hockey season's here, so of course we have to bring this into the Total Chaos community. So I've got Nick from the Insiders Room. How's it going, Nick?
It's going great. I mean, I can't believe the NHL season is here. I mean, I'm still just getting over the national championship game. The NFL is still going. I mean, it's starting at a weird time. There's now
basketball background.
There's been player movement. There's so many different things. So just trying to get all caught up myself here as well.
There's a lot going on. Kurt, what about you? How's it been kind of handicapping the first games before you've seen anybody play?
It's been odd, to say the least. You know, go with your gut instinct. I got a lucky quarter here. No, it's the first game of the season, so
the eject button's coming up, starting to flash.
You know who they brought in. And you have some teams that you kind of see what direction they're headed in. There's some teams that are like, "Hey, we're rebuilding." You know,
I
to be a while.
It's cool. We
preseason either. So there's this. It's hard to judge.
All right, did you get enough there?
Know what's going to happen next. So it's going to take a while to get into that because it's the first cap of the season. So we kind of had to explain what was going on in hockey right now. So they're not playing in bubbles. California. I almost said Canada. Canada has its own division thing going on. And then just from a handicapper's perspective, they were saying like the Western Division sucks, which is where the Knights are. The Western Division sucks, but now we're not necessarily playing outside of our divisions. So now you're just kind of like in a conference with people you can play against, like properly, kind of a thing. I think we were talking about the Maple Leafs. They played whatever team they play tomorrow 3 times last year. They're going to play them 10 times this year. And I just think that with that hockey chirping in the ear and the banter back and forth, like they're doing back-to-backs. They're doing game off game in the same stadium. So I think there's going to be like a lot of like beat downs, because it's one thing if you are talking shit in someone's ear, smash them against a wall, and then you don't see them for a couple weeks. But I feel like it's maybe another when you see them the next day. I feel like this is a big playoff mentality of hockey that we're about to go into. And I don't even like hockey, but that's what I learned tonight from that show. What do you guys think? How do you feel about hockey?
That can get me to watch hockey, but I don't really follow hockey.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm down to maybe start. That tickled my that got me tuned in.
I'll do it fancy, Alex. I'll do it.
It's tickled.
Told you so. That's a cash.
I might have to watch Total Chaos because my rent, I'm like, ever since I moved and I'm paying more rent and kind of stuff like that, I'm like betting a little bit less, but maybe I should start betting more to make more money.
Dude, I honestly, I can't even tell you. Chip Chirimbus does not pay me to say any of this, but I'm flabbergasted because I do all the stats on it. His NFL is so good, and he's not a totals guy. That's the funniest thing. I could go on, so I have to back off because I know I'm like drinky, and I could go on, but I'm so freaking 11-5. I mean, on 16 games in the NFL, you're 11-5 on totals. And then you're 5-1 the next week. It's just, he's so good. Bet all your money on Chip Chirimbus. He's so good.
All right.
VGK doesn't play tonight.
This isn't a bathrobe. This is a Speedo brand, like a warm-up. This is like a windbreak. This is like a poolside windbreaker. This is like before you hop in the pool. I bet Michael Phelps has one of these.
Hey, Willie, what does this mean? The credentials are sparse. It's hard to get. There's no one going. What's the deal on this for Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, Knights open Thursday. Brady's got that. Yeah. Kane is dumbass.
I kind of look like the Unabomber.
I miss your headband. It was.
I'll bring it back. I wear it when I work out, but I didn't wear it today. I didn't work out today.
That is a hood right there. Wow.
Yeah, it's a hood, baby.
Serious.
Rodney Hood.
That's serious.
Oh, wow. They're limited seating for media credentials. Okay. That'll be interesting. This could be the beginning of the end for a lot of the bloggers locally who've been going to games and a lot of different radio hosts. Damn.
Andre Agassi.
Could be a story for another day. Alex, how about we wrap it up, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed being back on here with you guys. I missed you.
I missed you.
Your tech is good to go. That was brilliant.
Hey, what's his name again? Damn it. I should have had it pulled up. Andrew, right? I want to make sure I get his Twitter handle right, though. Yes, Andrew F.exe. Yeah, Andrew. Hooked it up fat. And literally, guys, it wasn't just you. My whole life was in shambles because I do freelance like video editing, and I couldn't get my clients their videos because my Wi-Fi was so shitty. Thank you, Andrew, for saving me. And there's some real good people in this late night happy hour chat.
I do think it's very cool how adamant you were that you saved his name so you could bring it back, and then you saved it again so you could say it at the end of the show. So
he deserves a lot of love.
I think the lesson here, we can like end on gratitude, right? Because it's important.